Folks, welcome into sportsbookreview.com. This is your Major League Baseball show for Wednesday, September 16th, 2020. Nice little afternoon card. We actually have games that are going on right now. Both Jason and I will take you through the entire card as usual. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Jason Radowitz. Let's get it kicking today. Yesterday, Jason, I had a nice little total I was looking at between the Reds and the Pirates. I had 5 runs through 4 innings, and then I had nothing the rest of the way. That's how my day worked out on the show. How'd your day go, buddy?
Yeah, my day was just a little bit worse there, 0-3. But if you watched the last week, we're up a lot of units, so not too worried. It's like the stock market; some days are up, some days are down, but stocks never go down, right? They're always up. Same with sports betting. When you follow me, they always go up. So hopefully, we get back on track today.
No, we definitely will. And it was just a wild night because I saw your tweet come out last night, and I think anybody that was watching Major League Baseball yesterday was of the same opinion. Like, my goodness, like what's going on out here? Like the Braves all of a sudden can't hit the Orioles. You had some teams scoring 19 runs. Some teams like the Mets yesterday getting 1 run, stranding the bases loaded twice in that baseball game. But I can digress. But it was just an interesting night overall. Some of the cooler temperatures out there, but we'll see if we can fire up some winners today. And how about that? Speaking of firing it up, why don't we get started? 9:53, 9:54. Mike Fiers will be on the mound today versus German Marquez. 6 out of every 10 tickets here, Jason, coming in on the road team, the Oakland Athletics. Total opened up at 11.5, still sitting at 11.5 across the board. A little bit of a change here at SBRodds.com. Opened up at a -113 offshore as a favorite to the Rockies. They now sit around that 120, 115 rate, so not a lot of movement in this one. But I got to tell you, if I'm just going to get a pitching matchup and isolate the first 5 innings, there's a reason why the full game is -120 and the first 5 innings is anywhere between -140 to -145. Marquez is the better pitcher. The fact of the matter, though, is can those Rockies bats expose Mike Fiers? I think they can. I like the first 5 innings money line on the Colorado Rockies, and also dipping into maybe full game a little bit, but I do like the first 5 innings here, Jason. What are you looking at here in Colorado?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like Mike Fiers, when he's on the mound, the Athletics are now 7-2 in 9 games. So they've won 7 of 2 games. And lost just 2 games in those 9 games. So the Athletics, they're plus money, plus 102 around that pick'em range, but they're going up against a Rockies team that probably won't make the playoffs. Not a great team. And German Marquez, on the other hand, doesn't pitch well at home. Of course, not too many pitchers pitch well in Coors Field in the first place, but Fiers, if you look at his away numbers, he's actually pitched better on the road than at home. So you're looking at this plus money for the Athletics here on the money line in the full game, and you're like, all right, there's value there for these Athletics who have 30 wins on the season already. I think the Athletics definitely have an edge here at plus 102. Not taking this game. There's a lot there's a lot that can happen in this game. Of course, Marquez and Fiers both should have pretty bad games when looking at the metrics. But again, the Athletics offense should definitely get the job done, because even though Fiers has a 5.06 ERA, he's 5-2 on the season. That means that the Athletics are definitely hitting the ball when he's pitching, and obviously they can definitely hit the ball in Coors Field when he's pitching. So I like the Athletics here as plus money.
Yeah, I mean, the Oakland, the better lineup by far to me. I think you're on the right side of is the Athletics. It's just a matter of what you're going to get out of Fiers. I think you'd be really happy if you got that 5 innings, 3 earned runs out of Fiers, then turned it over to a bullpen game between the Athletics and the Rockies. Then you definitely would be sitting in that pretty seat. We'll see what happens here in that early baseball game. But guys, 132 people already watching 3 minutes into the show. 19 thumbs up, 0 thumbs down. 67,800 people now have subscribed to the channel here at sportsbookreview.com on YouTube. I know we also do some things on Facebook as well. If you miss anything, if you need any help, if you need any information to make you a better baseball gambler, check out sbrpicks.com/MLB. Welcome into people in the chat box. AJS, Jose, Austin, Jose, again, Bill, 1 for the money. Mike, who else is out here? Abel's out here. Steven's out here. Kay is out here. Tony Hill, C. James, OG Double. Everybody piling in for a nice afternoon action of baseball. And again, got some games in the afternoon. We will get to the rest of the card, but we do have some games you want to hit on first. 9:57, 9:58 yesterday. Again, I thought I had a nice total set up. Would have been nice to just take it on the first 5. Nobody scores the rest of the way. And that's always one of those painful things, because you figure you could just tack onto the bullpen. Not an avalanche of runs, but hey, if you have 5 runs by the 5th inning, you have 6 runs by the 7th, by the 8th or 9th, you could tack on another one. Just didn't happen yesterday in that game. Brubaker versus Castillo. Castillo's been great on the season. If you're taking a look at his ERA, it's been great. If you're taking a look at some of the advanced analytics, his FIP, xFIP, both been really good as well. Going up against JT Brubaker, opened up at minus 215, now sits at minus 226. Over-under opened up at 8.5, still sitting at 8.5 across the board. Going to be hard to get me to come over to a dog side in this one and say, you know what, I'm just going to take a flyer on the Pittsburgh Pirates. They were dead at the plate last night. I look towards Cincinnati in this one. It's a little expensive, but I do think they can scratch out some runs. Team total over 4.5 for me fits my profile in this game with the Reds. Which way are you looking here, Jason, between these two?
Yeah, I mean, this is an easy one. Castillo definitely has the edge over Brubaker. The funny thing is, though, Castillo, the one thing that kind of took me away from this game is that he's 2-5 on the season in 9 games with an ERA of 3.44 and an FIP of 2.88. So Castillo's been really good. The Reds aren't scoring for him when he's on the mound. However, the Reds did win the last 2 games with Castillo on the mound. So maybe things are starting to turn around in Castillo's favor because he was the most unlucky pitcher of the season so far, without a doubt. So we talked about like Dylan Cease, who's one of the luckiest pitchers. Well, Castillo's been one of the most unlucky pitchers in the MLB this season. It's not even close with his 2.88 FIP and a 2-5 record. So, yeah, Brubaker faced the White Sox in his last start, 7 earned runs in 5.1 innings pitched. He's had multiple runs in most games this season, and he's performing better on the road, but most of his starts have come at home, so it's kind of a weird stat. Not enough sample size on the road for Brubaker anyway, and 297 for lefties against him as an average. So, yeah, definitely the Reds have the edge here. I agree with the team total over. I'm hoping the Reds able to score some runs because they don't really do that for Castillo. However, the last 2 games have been wins for the Reds with Castillo on the mound, so that might be switching and it might be changing for the Reds, and that might be good for Castillo and your team total over.
Very kind people out here in the chat box today. Jason, OG Double, best show on the tube. C. James, great baseball show, good Monday Night Football show as well. And again, C. James bring up the Monday Night Football show. The man that's on the show with me now. We'll be hanging out. We'll talk Major League Baseball and some NFL action. Interesting game, too. Las Vegas Raiders out there opening up their new stadium, and the New Orleans Saints are coming to town. And also, One for the Money says this show is way better than the other show. I don't know what the other show is, but I can assume that we are way better than that as well. 961, 962, Atlanta and Baltimore. I thought we would have some runs in this series. Yesterday, I didn't have a play on either side. Didn't even just messing around, say, hey, I really think the Braves are going to hit or the Orioles hit. I stayed away from that game and was really surprised by the score. Actually seeing it was interesting to me because I turned it off. I believe it's 2-0, but I think 5 runs ended up getting put up by the Atlanta Braves, which still would have fell short by a half run for their team total. Now you're going to have Hamels and Aiken on the mound, 2 lefties. And if you say, hey, Cole Hamels, welcome back, Philadelphia Phillies. Yeah, he's been out the entire year with some tricep tendonitis. He's on a pitch count tonight, probably only looking at getting through 3 or 4 innings in this one, maybe about 50 to 60 pitches at an absolute max. Aiken, the lefty, is going to be on the mound. 168s across the board. Over-under opens up at 9.5, sits at 10. Again, like the Atlanta Braves, when you look, they smash right-handed pitching. Struggle a little bit with left-handed pitching, but again, you're not getting a dominant lefty here on the mound. It's a real interesting series. In a ballpark, you should be able to put up runs. The Atlanta Braves were absolutely scorching coming into town. Where are the runs at from the Braves here, Jason, where we could get that 7 or 8 that we can tack onto the total? I still lean towards the total because both of these profiles should have some decent lineups, but it's kind of interesting that last couple of nights, not a ton of runs here for us.
Yeah, wow, the Braves, they scored late, but it was a little too late, and
yes.
They had a little bit of a chance towards the end, and the Orioles even tacked on a run in the end of the game, but it just didn't work out for us last night. But, crazy that there was like 2 runs, and all of a sudden there's 6 and on the board. Which was kind of fun, rooting for it towards the end, but it just didn't work out. Yeah. But yeah, this is a fun game. Cole Hamels is back after some tricep issues. I don't know what to expect out of him. So this is a stay-away game for me, but, just knowing Hamels might go 3 innings in this game, I think Keegan Aiken might be the better play in this one with value at plus 148. Of course, the Braves offense has been struggling a little bit against starting pitching recently. And Aiken, this is a guy with high strikeout numbers and high walk numbers. Maybe his walk numbers, maybe dip a little bit. They seem a little bit high for the kind of pitcher he is. So I think his walk numbers will definitely decrease as the season progresses. Remember, he's only thrown 13.2 innings pitched. So if he has 1 or 2 walks in a single inning, then that just becomes, a little bit inflated with his walk number. So I wouldn't look too into that walk number. Definitely hasn't allowed too many home runs in that 13.2 innings pitched and a 3.79 FIP. I think there's value there for the Orioles. The Braves are definitely the better team. I think over 10 definitely hits as well, with the Braves bullpen probably pitching, 6 innings, maybe 5 innings. So, yeah, I like the over in this one. Again, obviously got burnt on it yesterday, so I'm not going back to it. But, of course, I think Orioles have value there at plus 148.
Yeah, because you're also taking up the Orioles. It's a little bit expensive. Team total 3.5 minus 140s are out there, and it's a value play to me because even though you're going to spend the 140, you're not getting Hamels. And if he catches fire, it doesn't matter. If Cole Hamels goes 3 innings and throws 50 pitches and doesn't allow a hit, he's still coming out of the ball game. He's not going to stay and say, hey, let this one ride out. You're going to get a lot of bullpen work in this game, and sooner or later we're going to get back to those smashing Atlanta Braves scoring teams of putting up 7, 8, 9, and 10 runs, and I think that might return tonight. 963. 964 in the Bronx. Pitching mismatch here for sure. Garrett Cole is going to take them out versus Tanner Roark. We open up at 260. We now sit 270s. Even some New Jersey outlets here for us, Jason, sitting at minus 295s. If we take a look across the board, opens up at about 8.5. Now we're seeing some 9s creep across. Team total for Yankees is the only way I'll be going in this game. I don't think Toronto is a live dog going up against Garrett Cole. And again, we're in a smaller ballpark. So if Garrett Cole is a dominant pitcher in this one, I still think Toronto can get a couple runs out. Lean towards the over, but maybe a team total on the Yankees fits the profile more. Don't have a great view of this game. What are you looking at here, Jason, in this game in the Bronx tonight?
Yeah, this is my official play for the day. Yankees over 5 on the team total at minus 117. If you have 5.5, I suggest taking it. You're obviously getting values probably around that minus 110 or probably around that minus 105 or even plus 100 range. So it's a good value there. If we're both looking for the Yankees to get over 6, so I'm just getting that push at 5 in case. But they're going up against Tanner Roark, and Roark has a high Sierra, doesn't get many ground balls. He's had tough tests against the Yankees in this one after coming off 20 runs in their last game yesterday. The Yankees scored. In that game against the Yankees in his last start, you had 2 earned runs in 4 innings pitched. Also had 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. Again, the Yankees erupted for 20 runs in that last game yesterday. Yeah. That bullpen is a little bit taxed. They had 5 bullpen pitchers. Each one of them allowed at least 1 run. So even when they go to the bullpen, it's not going to be too pretty for the Blue Jays. The Yankees offense is definitely figuring it out. And talking about figuring it out, Garrett Cole against the Orioles in his last 2 starts, he's allowed just 1 home run. He's looked really good in those 2 starts. It looks like he might be getting back on track, and I expect him to stay on track for this game. The Yankees need him, and he needs the Yankees. Got to get back into the postseason. Right now they're in the postseason, but they're still fighting for a better position. They need him more than ever now, and I think that he gives it to them. So even if you're looking at minus 1.5 for the Yankees, I don't usually recommend this for a home team, but I think Cole gets back on track, and we're talking about Roark and the Blue Jays bullpen that hasn't pitched well recently versus the Yankees, especially. I like the Yankees here any way you look at it, and definitely over 5 on the team total. And if you want to double dip, I'm not going to double dip, but if you want to double dip, minus 1.5 seems like a great play for the Yankees in this one.
Yeah, and that's the only way I will even look to that game because I'm not going to say, hey, Tanner Roark's going to go in and throw 7 shutout innings in the Bronx. I don't think it's going to be the case. How about this one in the chat box here? Al Hard says, does anyone remember the game Pitfall? Yes. You're jumping over the crocodiles. You're swinging on the vines. Sure we do. Atari games. Come on, look. You're talking to a guy that's in his 40s here. Yes, I remember Pitfall, okay? Let's keep going here in the city of Philadelphia. Last night I had a separate play along with the Tampa Bay Rays. Tampa Bay was nice for me last night. The New York Mets were not. And you had a chance with Pete Alonso up, bases loaded, 2 outs, ends up with a fly ball. And also you had once Arrieta finally actually left the game because he got hurt, he had a bases loaded, 1 out chance, and Ramos comes up to the plate. And it's a shame because the Mets haven't got anything out of their catching position at all at the plate this year. That was a chance to make a dent because I had the team total over 4.5. So I'm looking like, hey, if you could get it tied up 4-4, we know where that leans. They had their chances last night, but just like the Mets do sometimes, weren't able to cash in. And Jason was right. Saw that cheap dog there last night for the Philadelphia Phillies. Hey, why not take him? And the Phillies certainly came through. Tonight, different story. story with pitchers. DeGrom is going to be on the mound. We know what we're going to get out of DeGrom. Wheeler's going to take the mound, who's been very good for the Philadelphia Phillies, but making his first start since tearing off his thumbnail. So we'll see how long he goes, because the last time I remember somebody having problems with their fingers and pitching was Trevor Bauer when he was flying his drone and it lopped off part of his finger. He was dripping blood throughout the game, had to leave the game early. Let's see what happens with Zach Wheeler tonight. 7 out of every 10 tickets coming out here on DeGrom. Heavy favorite, 175s, 176s across the board, a total of 7.5. The fan in me says, hey, take a flyer with Wheeler. If Wheeler was not having these issues, or who knows what he's going to feel, the strain of his thumb or whatever it is, I would like that big dog price at plus 150 at home. But the fact that I don't know what I'm getting out of Wheeler, and you pretty much know every time what you're getting out of Jason DeGrom, it's hard for me to go against. I still think the price is a little bit high. I think the 7.5 is a fair number. But if I'm just going to say, you know what, I have to bet this game, I'd probably take a flyer on the Phillies plus 160 to wait out DeGrom and maybe get after the bullpen. But I don't have anything great here other than I don't know what I'm getting out of Zach Wheeler. What are you thinking in this game between the Mets and the Phillies, Jason?
Yeah, so like you said, Wheeler with that little injury or whatever you want to call it from picking up his pants. You don't know what to expect out of him, but I would assume if he's going, then he's capable and he's ready to go, and there should be no issues. So going into this game, I expect Wheeler to be fine. Of course, Wheeler allowed 3 earned runs on 8 hits in 6 innings pitched against the Mets. And allowed them to kind of come back in that game, but still had 7 strikeouts and no walks. And he looked good to start the game. DeGrom always looked great to start the game. Might have a little bit of an issue towards the end of his start, but usually really good. 12 strikeouts and 2 walks. Dominated the Phillies in the start with 7 innings pitched and 1 run on 3 hits in that game at the Phillies. So if I had to pick anything in this game, and for us, it's both really tough to pick this game since you're a Phillies fan and I'm a Mets fan, but I think under 4 is the way to go. I think both these pitchers definitely do a good job holding it down. We've seen the offenses kind of struggling just a little bit. Like look at yesterday, Porcello and Arrieta on the mound, the game goes under. Now you have DeGrom and Wheeler on the mound, the game should absolutely go under. So for me, under 4 in the first 5 would probably be the play. Of course, I'm not taking it, but it would be the play.
Yeah, I could see a little bit cooler temperatures here in Philadelphia. 2 good pitchers. We'll see what Phillies line up. Obviously, Rhys Hoskins has been put on the IL, also waiting to see if JT Realmuto is going to come back or not. So some interesting moving parts in this series overall. 971, 972, Minnesota and the White Sox. Odorizzi versus Giolito opened up at minus 145. Not a lot of line movement here. We're going about 145s, 150s across the board. 8.5 as a total for the game. And look, Odorizzi only had a couple starts this year. It hasn't been that dynamic, and I see a couple people already looking at it in the chat box. The first thing that drew my attention here, Jason, was a Chicago White Sox team total over 4.5 this game. It's I don't know if I want to lay 150, 140 with Giolito, because we know those Minnesota bats can come to play. But overall, the best team in the American League currently, looking at standing wise, White Sox are right up there and maybe even going to have a shot at winning a World Series. How crazy is that even to say? But looking at the total, I like the over 8.5. I like the White Sox, but if the White Sox are going to win this baseball game, I don't think it's going to be 3-1 or 3-2. They're going to have to hit. I like the team total for the White Sox over 4.5. What are you looking at here between the Twins and the White Sox?
Yeah, so Giolito has high strikeout rate. He's looked really good. Does struggle to get ground balls, but he has the 177 batting average at home this season in 6 starts. So he's looked really good at home. He has allowed multiple runs in his last 3 starts, so he hasn't been perfect, but he's still getting some big strikeouts. And when you got guys on base, it's always crucial to be able to get strikeouts, and that's big for pitchers that might allow some runners on base. But yeah, he's done a good job this season. Odorizzi, you go back, he hasn't pitched in quite some time. His last start was in 8/21. And in his 3 starts, he's actually faced the Royals 3 times, and that was it.
Yes.
So he hasn't faced another team, so it's really hard to figure out, look at any different stats against any other team. So it's really hard to just know what Odorizzi is going to bring to the table. And when you look at his stats, yeah, maybe he's not going to be that great. He allowed 2.7 home runs per 9 innings in those 3 starts. But again, that's only 10 innings pitched, so that's literally, not much at all. So for me, it's really hard to say, yeah, I'm going to take the White Sox on the over on the team total. It's going to be hard for me to say White Sox minus 0.5 in the first 5. But I like those plays. Like they should hit. Odorizzi doesn't really catch my eye, but we just don't have enough stats to back him up and say, yeah, Odorizzi's going to be really bad in this game. Of course, the White Sox bats can definitely make anybody look bad and foolish, so can the Twins. But Obviously, Giolito is a much better pitcher in this matchup as well. So anything the White Sox, I would lean towards. It's not an official play for me, though.
Let's keep moving on. Open up to the full card here. 9:55, 9:56 afternoon action, 4:10 Eastern time, which is 1:10 out west. The Dodgers and the Padres. Graterol has been announced as a starter for the Los Angeles Dodgers, and San Diego is going to start Morajan, the lefty, on the mound. Over under 9.5 to 9, depending on where you're shopping at, and also across the board, taking a look at maybe a 115 to 120 in this game. Didn't have a chance to cap it because I didn't know exactly who the Dodgers pitcher was going to be in this one. We're going to have basically bullpen games primarily for both of these squads. Both have decent bullpens. Slightly into the 9, Jason, but I don't have much in this game. Do you have anything on this one?
Yeah, so at first, Dustin May was supposed to get the start. And, of course, he's injured. He left the game last time and had just one inning, and it didn't look too good. So he's out. Graterol's in. Like you said, it's going to be a bullpen game for both of these pitchers. Morajan probably has a little bit of an edge here. His strikeout rate is really high, walk rate really low. But Graterol's walk rate is low too. Just Graterol doesn't have the strikeouts that Morajan has. But of course, looking at that bullpen, I don't know. This is a tough game. I think there's other games on the card that are much more appealing to bet on. But the Padres are home. Maybe that gives a little bit of an edge there. But Morajan, lefties are hitting him with 300, and he has a 5.79 ERA at home in 3 games and 1 start. Of course, again, we're talking about these numbers like there's a big sample size, but there's not. 3 games, 1 start with a 5.79 ERA. There's not much sample size there. So games like these are games that kind of stay away from because there's not a sample size big enough that would definitely tell me, yeah, this is what's going to happen and this is how it's going to happen. So, I'm staying away from this game. I don't really have a lean either way with Graterol on the mound. I did like the Dodgers with May on the mound, so if Graterol can get through a couple innings of work and give it to the bullpen, maybe Dodgers have a little bit of an edge there. Again, this is a tough one. I'm not taking it.
We keep moving on. 9:59, 9:60. The Philadelphia Phillies leave town, and Miami Marlins go back to being their $2 payroll. Miami Marlins getting shut out by a young pitcher coming out, pitching a couple scoreless innings and really knocking it down. 2-0 final yesterday. Boston was able to win, so Boston's going to run another, ham and egger basically and kick them on the mound today. -136, -140s across the board. If you're looking as a favorite for the Marlins with a total of 9 across the board. Rogers isn't a great pitcher either, so when you take a look at some of the right-handed bats that can stack up against Rogers, you do like that a little bit for Boston, but I don't think you're going to get the same type of performance that the young kid gave yesterday. Or maybe you just have to dress the Boston Red Sox up in some Phillies uniform. I mean, hey, they have some red in their uniform. Should be able to get some base hits. I lean towards the over. Not a great ballpark for hitting, but I can't really say I'm going to lay money and put it on Rogers. And at the same time, other than the Philadelphia Phillies, it seemed like the Marlins destroyed. They really took a deep breath yesterday and came up empty with a 0 spot. I think they're going to bounce back and get some runs in this one, but not in love. I'll actually take a little bit on the dog here with the Boston Red Sox as opposed to taking Rogers as a favorite.
Yeah, there's value there for sure. Again, with Kickham, 9 innings pitched, 1 start, 3 games. So again, not that much of a sample size there to say, yeah, I know we're going to get out of the Marlins. Kickham, he's getting many swinging strikes. But of course, he won't go deep in this game. Yeah. And then you're getting that bullpen that, hasn't been great at all this season. So he's allowed 5 earned runs in 9 innings pitched this season, 308 average for lefties this season. And, Rogers has a high strikeout rate. On the other hand, for the Marlins, also has a high walk rate. So he's allowed 9 runs to the Phillies in 3 innings pitched in his last start. Hasn't looked great in September. As the month, he's allowed 11 earned runs and 12 runs in 9 innings pitched. His home ERA is 10.29. And he has a 313 batting average in just 2 starts this season. Again, a really small sample size, like I always say. So there's probably other games I'd prefer when you're looking at these small sample sizes. But at the end of the day, I think over 9 is probably the play, like you said. There's value with the Red Sox. I do think the Marlins get the win at home. But again, over 9 seems like the play in this game with Kickham and Rogers on the mound. Get a couple runs early and scratch out a couple more against the bullpens and should get the over.
Yep, next game here, Jason. Time to get back on that horse again, just because we look at Kansas City yesterday. They came up really lame, and it's a shame, too, because Alex like the other side with Detroit going up against Danny Duffy. He gets scratched, so I couldn't even take a win away from that game. But today, I think we're going to get some runs, and I think Kansas City is going to pull through. Skubal, the lefty, is going to be on the mound for the Detroit Tigers, the young pitcher, versus Singer, the righty for Kansas City. Short favorite here for Kansas City, -113s, -120s across the board. If you take a look at an over-under, depending where you're shopping, anywhere between 9s to 8.5. 4.5. When we take a look simply at some statistics here for Skubal, 7.27 ERA, 5.80 FIP, 5.38 xFIP, 5.04 SIERA. It doesn't line up really well, but the problem that you run into is you look at that lineup for Kansas City and say, it's not a lot to be desired in this lineup, but they are going to probably float 8 to 9 right-handed batters, maybe the entire lineup of righties to go up against the young kid. I think they're going to get some runs tonight. Cheap line, team total over 4.5. I'll go with Kansas City in this one and take that over.
Yeah, I tried that last night, and
yes.
I got a pie right to my face. But I agree with you. I would have done it today if I didn't get burned on it, before. So, Skubal, like you said, 7.27 ERA, 5.8 FIP. His walk rate 4.15 per 9 innings, also allowing 2.08 home runs per 9 innings. He was hit for 6 earned runs in 2 innings pitched against the Cardinals in a 7-inning game. Also had 4 walks in that game. Righties are now hitting .314 with all 4 home runs coming against Skubal from the right side. Going back to Brady Singer, of course, he had a no-hitter through most of his last start. I think a lot of guys will say, I would fade pitchers like this coming off of solid starts. Then they kind of get a little over their head, and they don't perform too well. Well, if you go back to his previous start before that potential no-hitter, he allowed 10 hits in the game previously. So what does that tell you, right? He's having a no-hitter in one game, another game he's allowing 10 hits. So I think this game definitely goes over as well. Of course, it backfired yesterday, but I think Singer allowed some runs in this game. The Tigers have a sneaky offense that they showed last night. And then you have, the other hand, you have the Royals who, they're able to stack off their righties, and they're able to have a really good team going up against, these Tigers, pitchers. And they should get the job done. They just didn't yesterday, but they should get the job done. I like where you're going with this. Royals minus 134 for me as a lean, over 9, another lean for this game.
Yeah, decent hitting weather there tonight in Detroit as well, similar to what we're going to get in the Midwest there in Chicago, both with the White Sox and with the Cubs. 973, 974, Texas and Houston, Gibson and McCullers on the mound. The home team are the Astros here. Heavy favorite for McCullers, who hasn't been that great this year. Minus 210s, minus 215s across the board. Over-under opened up at 9, Jason. Now sitting at 9s, mostly across. William Hill showing an 8.5, minus 120, so you would have to pay some juice for this one. Not a great fit. I don't like that Texas lineup, but to be honest with you, the way I would be leaning here is that's a huge, huge price on McCullers. I would lean towards the big dog at getting plus 191. So if I think the dog is going to have a possibility to win this game, I'd also look at the team total for Texas, stacking up lefty batters against McCullers. Not a great feel, but if I'm going to take a dog, why not take almost a $2 price and see if they can come home? Not a great feel for this game, but do lean towards Texas as a big dog. Any ideas here, Jason?
Yeah, this game could be an over game. Kyle Gibson, we can just go down his game log. 5 earned runs, 5 earned runs, 5 earned runs. I mean, it's getting so repetitive now. He's now allowed 5+ runs in 4 of his last 5 starts. Allowed 16 hits in his last 10.1 innings pitched. McCullers, he allowed 2 hits and 3 runs versus the Angels, along with 3 walks, and couldn't get a single out in his last outing versus the Angels. Hasn't pitched since September 4th. So you have McCullers, who got rocked in his last game. Gibson's getting rocked every start this season. McCullers hasn't pitched since September 4th. Yeah, I like the over in this game. I think the Astros over 4.5 team total is a good play. I think your look at the Rangers is a good play. I think over Central, this could be a trifecta game for sure.
Harold Greer says, hey, Donnie and Jason, hope to catch you guys today with y'all for the long haul. That's what it is, man. Ebbs and flows, the ups and downs. You just want to win more games than you lose overall. That's the name of the game. You can't be a winner every single day. And once you learn that concept, continue to fire, get back on the saddle, which I know Jason's going to get back on the saddle with the Kansas City Royals tonight. Don't you guys have any fear out here. Let's keep going. Cleveland and Chicago. Normally, this is like Leicester at home in Wrigley. Wind's blowing in a little bit, but a team that can stack a lot of right-handed batters. Where do I sign up? Well, I don't sign up in this game because it's the Cleveland Indians at the plate, and it just doesn't seem like whatever they do, mystifying at the plate. 2 runs, 3 runs, out of nowhere, 6 runs, back to 2 runs, 3 runs. They just don't line up, and even though they should be able to hit Leicester, which most teams in Major League Baseball stacking right-handers can do against Leicester, I don't have faith in them here. And take a look at this line. Minus 110s, minus 115. Savali is the better pitcher than Leicester by far, but what are you going to get out of that Indians lineup? And we're sitting there at an 8 in Chicago and Wrigley with Leicester on the mound. You should auto sign that to take an over, and I can't do it. I still lean towards Cleveland because I'm getting the better pitcher, but can I get some runs out of this lineup? That's the only question.
Yeah, I had the Cubs yesterday against the Indians in the first 5 innings, and somehow, some way, Darvish allowed 3 runs in the first 5 innings, and the game went 3-3 when I had minus .5. The Cubs couldn't score their final run with a base hit and Rizzo on second. He stopped at third. Contreras runs to second, gets out with 1 out, and then Rizzo couldn't score on a fly ball from Schwarber because there were 2 outs. So that was a really bad beat, of course, and Darvish allowing 3 runs to the Indians. We're pleading for the Indians to score runs, and they score 3 against Darvish. Of course, a couple were errors, but you get what I'm trying to say here. But yeah, Savali's a much better pitcher here. I agree with you 100%. Indians at minus 121 definitely seems like the better play in this game. Savali didn't look great in his last start, though. He allowed 4 earned runs in 6 innings pitched, 7 hits in that game. Still had 7 strikeouts and 1 walk. Writers are still hitting Savali with a 3.11 average and had 6 home runs, but Savali does have a 3.71 ERA on the road. The thing is, he's 2-3 record on the road, so of course the Indians' bats aren't backing him up. What's new here?
Yeah.
And Lester coming off a solid start versus the Milwaukee Brewers. Before that, he was allowing 5+ runs like every start, it seemed, but in that last start versus Milwaukee, shut them down. He looked good, and he also locked down the Indians in his first start against them this season, 6 innings pitched with 3 hits and 1 run. So, I don't know where to go in this game. Lester should not be pitching well, but he's fared well in his last start versus Milwaukee, in his last start versus the Indians, and Savali starting to maybe, not perform as well as we would have expected him to in his last start, still getting high strikeouts and low walks for Savali. So, for me, I think Indians have solid play around Pick'em, but over 8.5 also seems like the play. I think the Cubs and Indians both score some runs in this game.
No, yeah, it's the only way to go for me because you're taking bad pitchers. Talk about bad pitchers. The game we're going to talk about next, Arizona versus the Angels last night. Bad Bum's a bad pitcher. They run, and when Upton is going yard on you, hitting like 140 on the season, you have some issues. They blew that total right out of the water. Cole Calhoun coming home to a nice homecoming in that one. We'll see if we get runs today. You can certainly, or you figure you'd get them off Caleb Smith, but Bundy's been pretty good overall on the season. 8 out of every 10 tickets here coming in on the Angels, and a heavy favorite. Bundy's on the mound at minus 220 with a 9 across the board. That'll tell you the pitching dire straits for the Arizona Diamondbacks. You don't really get good starting pitching, and you certainly don't get much out of your bullpen. You're just flipping that coin also with that 1 through 9. I can't take the Angels at that high, 205. I do still think there's going to be runs. You had that nice run last night, so maybe some of these guys are stepping back up to the plate. And as long as you keep Joe Adell out of the lineup, it seems like these teams can actually, at least the Angels can certainly hit getting that anchor out. But 220, 210 in that range, too high. 9 feels about right. Slight lean towards the over, but I don't think the dog has very much fight in this one from the Arizona Diamondbacks here, Jason.
No, I've loved Dylan Bundy. I've loved watching him pitch, and I even had minus 0.5 in his last start, and most recent start where he looked really good. He's now went 7 innings plus in his last 2 starts, just allowed 2 earned runs in those starts with 20 strikeouts. He's really hitting the plate. He's really looking good. Plenty of swing strikes, limiting hard hit balls. I'm a big Bundy fan, and any way you look at it, Bundy's definitely the guy here for this game for the Angels. Yeah, but the juice is just too heavy. And Caleb Smith, he's gone 3 innings pitched in both of his starts this season, allowed just 1 run in each of those starts. Then you rely on the Diamondbacks bullpen to get the job done. I'm not really sure they can. So, I like the Angels here, but again, minus 195 is too high. And then you go to the Angels minus 1.5. Well, they're home, so I don't really like taking that. You can go at the minus 0.5 in the first 5, but also Smith has only allowed 1 run in 3 innings pitched. So then you have to bank on the Angels to score a couple runs in the 4th and 5th inning potentially against the Diamondbacks bullpen, and that might be a little bit challenging for the Angels here as well. So I like under 9 in this matchup. I'm not taking any game in this one. I'm not taking anything in this one, but yeah, the Angels anyway you look at it should get the job done. Just the juice is kind of high.
San Francisco and Seattle last game. We'll talk about Smiley. The lefty's going to be another guy from famous Phillies past. Drew Smiley on the mound today versus L.J. Newsome. Over-under of 9 across the board. 152 is a favorite for San Francisco. I like the way San Francisco's profile sets up against Newsome, but I'm not going to lay Drew Smiley with 150s here. Don't have a great feel on this game overall. Any thoughts on this last game we're going to talk about here, Jason, between the Giants and the Mariners?
Yeah, so, Smiley, not the best pitcher, but he's looked pretty good this season, looked good in relief, and now the Giants are like, all right, well, let's give him another start. A 2.92 ERA, 2.39 FIP. Yeah, he's looked really good. But if you know his stats from before last season, not too great. Walk rate high. But right now his strikeouts are 13.86 per 9 innings. That's extremely high. That should definitely regress as he gets more starts under his belt. So I wouldn't look at that number and say, yeah, he's a big strikeout thrower, because he's not really a big strikeout thrower. Newsome, we talked about him yesterday. He keeps getting a start, pushed back. So who knows with him? But he hasn't allowed a walk in 8.1 innings pitched so far. Does allow hard contact more often than not. Can't really expect more from him after 5 innings. So again, in this game, you're getting probably a bullpen game for both pitchers in this one. So I like over 9. I think both teams can get to the bullpens of both these teams as well. So give me the over 9 as a lean, and also the Giants at minus 157. I think that they have the better bats and the better lineup going up against the bullpen.
All right, folks, made it through an entire show. There were 300 people watching live in the chat box. We do thank you guys for that. As we said, 67,800 people have subscribed to sportsbookrareview.com right here on YouTube. We do thank you. Turn on the notifications. Whenever we go live, doesn't matter. There's so many things going on. The NBA, the NFL, college football, Major League Baseball. We got you covered. Come into the chat box and say hello. Very lively chat box today for a hump day Wednesday. Now it's time to get some best bets and bankers. And coming off my loss yesterday on the over between the Reds and also the Pittsburgh Pirates did me dirty. I'm going to come back with the total today, Jason, and I'm going to give you the good mojo in this one. Coming back, Kansas City did not hit last night. Kansas City is going to hit tonight, so I'm going to go with the team total over for the Kansas City Royals, just on the simple basis. You got a young pitcher that's struggling this year, high xFIPs, and also you are going to get a heavy dose from a left-handed pitcher of right-handed bats with Kansas City. Not a fantastic lineup. This isn't the Yankees batting. This isn't, what the Atlanta Braves would look like against right-handed batting, but it should be able to do enough in some decent hitting conditions in Detroit tonight. I like the team total, Kansas City Royals, over 4.5 tonight, Jason. Take it away with your best bets and bankers today.
Yeah, so for one, I think you're talking me into that pick for the Royals. Yes. I really didn't want to do it because they burned me. So, I have hard feelings after that. But I might roll with you there. So I think I'm gonna have to roll with you there. I think you talked me into it. I would have liked it if I didn't. If I hit it yesterday, I would have liked it. Since I didn't hit it, I didn't like it. But it's definitely a logical play there, and I do agree with you. If you guys see me looking over up there to my right, I'm watching the Rays and Nationals game right now. I do have a play on the Rays. It's over 4.5 in the full game. So they do have one run right now in through 2 innings, hoping they get that 4.5. The live line is probably around that 4.5. So if you guys want to tell me, you probably still can. I'm just pointing that out there. It's on MLB Network, so it's on national television. You can watch it right now onto your TV. But my other play, my official play, and my banker play for the day or the night, Yankees over on their team total of 5 at minus 117. If you have 5.5, I agree with it. We're both going for that 6. I'm just getting that 5 for the push just in case, and I would advise you to get that 5 if you can, but we both need 6 to get the win. So Yankees over 5, team total at minus 117 for me. I love that play with Garrett Cole on the mound. Also like the Yankees at minus 1.5. I'm not double dipping, but if I were to double dip, I would go for the Yankees minus 1.5. I think I'm going to just go with the Royals team total instead of just double dipping. We'll go with the Royals and back Donnie there.
Hey, there you go. It's team players here today. Look, he lost to the Royals yesterday. I said, you know what, Jason, you want the Royals again today. Let's get on board and take them and ride that wave to victory. But I also agree with your Tampa Bay play over 4.5. I saw you tweet that out a little bit earlier today. It would be nice if Washington sort of can chase them down, but leaving men the bases loaded in the top of the second inning certainly did not help. But we'll see how that game. Long way to go. Bad pitcher on the mound for Washington. So we'll see how that finishes out. But guys, thank you again for tuning in. Over 300 people currently watching here. You've been so kind to us on the season. We'll continue to do this at least for the next 2 weeks and possibly right through the playoffs, carry you through September so we can have a profitable month in Major League Baseball. The totals are out there for us today. The bankers are out there for us today. We will be back on tomorrow again. Full Thursday card. Join us again at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Jason Radowitz. We're sportsbookrareview.com. And this has been your Major League Baseball show. Good luck, guys.